So let's see if we are live over here. The AI editing is very interesting. I've still got a lot to learn about it. But the quality of the video, I mean, remember how, yeah, there we go. Remember how we were talking about Eric and, you know, how he was so pixelated
Mm-hmm.
last week? Nothing. There is no pixelation. It's gorgeous. Yeah, for everybody except you.
Oh.
Well, and you were fine up to the point that you weren't there anymore. So
Can't see you, by the way.
You can't?
Nope.
Marty, can you see me?
Nope.
I can see both of you.
Why am I not seeing you?
I don't know. I was going to say, because I'm seeing us on YouTube.
Thing's fun.
I'm using the web interface. I'm not. Yeah, I'm using the web interface for reasons that are difficult to explain right now, but I am.
Yeah, I don't see you.
Well, I'm glad Marty's here to because otherwise I'd be pulling my hair out.
Too late.
Thanks, Marty. I set you up for that one, didn't I?
Yeah. You can't give me ones like that. It's just too easy.
That made my night.
Yeah, I'm looking on YouTube. Your video is not as clear as Marty and I on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Oh, I bet I know why.
But I can't see you either.
Hang on. Okay, I bet it gets better now in a minute. Because I was looking at my upload speed and it seemed like that was a little bit light.
Yeah.
So
I don't understand why I can't see you in the app. Very strange.
Huh. Well, if you want to go out and come in via the web link,
I can see on YouTube.
Because I feel like it's got to be. I mean, it has to be on your end because otherwise, I would be seeing.
No, I can try.
See it on my side. Yeah, I mean, do it. It's up to you. It's up to you. But now, why am I? Oh yes, I bumped something somewhere. I was going to say that didn't seem quite right. There.
I'm trying to join. Oh, it's not going to let me without a name. I'll disconnect from the app. I'm joining from the web now.
Whoops. Okay.
Oh, it's Doppelganger Dave.
I'll get out.
Okay. That was a little scary.
Now I see you. Must be the app.
Was it worth it?
Oh, we want to have a productive conversation. Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
getting
I don't
sort
think.
of a tunnel. I'm getting sort of a tunnel sound on your voice, Dave.
Yeah.
Right. Check.
Yeah.
Where do you
The
get
one thing I
settings?
can't remember now from last week. Where's ChatGPT?
Oh, I see. Oh, wait. It's going through my. Oh, there it is now. Now it should sound better. Nope.
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 About the same.
Can't see my mic.
Well, there went Dave. Now he's back in.
Oh, I'm looking over at the YouTube feed.
Yeah.
I can see you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, you sound the way you're supposed to.
The
Yeah.
web didn't find a mic, but now I can see you through the app, albeit very granular and just like on YouTube.
On
Yeah,
the
mine-
YouTube feed, Chuck, you look extremely pixelated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
don't.
the three of us are clear. Now that could just be what I'm
Yeah.
seeing, but
Nope. Same for me.
Yeah, and I don't quite know why. Let's see if I turn my camera on or off. I don't think that'll mess anything up. Can I turn my camera on and off? How you doing, Jim? Sorry.
Hey, Jim.
Going straight to 87%.
Cool.
I went to pause Backblaze, but it wouldn't let me because it said I was already uploaded.
Okay, well. Ah. I'll bring myself back and see if that helped at all.
Same.
let's see.
He looks sharp to
It's
me.
the same.
Oh, I guess you're saying on
Same to
YouTube
me.
it's not sharp.
Yeah, on YouTube.
Yeah,
it's
YouTube
not-
is where
It's not sharp in the app either.
I've got them okay. Well, I've got them okay
He's-
on. I guess I'm running.
He's a little
I'm
bit
not
too
running
sharp
the
on
app.
my Chrome screen.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Well, we're still figuring this out. I mean, I'm not worried because last Jim, poor Marty and Dave have heard this 5 times, but last week Eric was the problem child, and it was so pixelated, and yet his video was perfect. You know, after it finished uploading and in the edit. So
Yeah, it's always the problem child. They
yeah,
always
so
manage to.
Barry says
And I
get
guess
out
got
of
booted.
trouble.
good except Chuck. Okay.
Now, is
well,
that an editorial comment or is that a comment about?
Oh, thanks, Marty. Now my YouTube YouTube looks good for
Now
me.
you look. Oh yeah, you look so much
Yeah.
better now. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, you are you.
Maybe just this system needs some time to gear everybody up and optimize them.
Yeah, no, I just had a minute there where I got a
You're
little
back
fuzzy.
to pixelated.
Yeah.
It backs pixelated. It's going back and forth.
I don't know what
Jim's a little fuzzy. Image, nothing personal.
Everybody here is sporting
It's-
whiskers of one variation or another. It's like
Get
tell
with the
Dave's
program,
working
Chuck.
Dave's working from home. He doesn't shave anymore.
Nah,
Next week he'll show up
Not
like
tomorrow.
who knows what.
I lost my beard one time when I unexpectedly set the clippers to 0 and did like a reverse mohawk. So I had an empty, clean line down the middle. So then I said, "Oh hell, I got to shave the whole thing off."
Good evening, other people in the chat room. I see there are a few other people in there other than just us and other than Barry. So good to see you all. Thanks for being here. I see now Dave's fuzzing out a little bit.
I look good. Well, I'm looking at myself, but oh yeah, and YouTube, it looks like it.
Yeah. So, well, this is hey.
See,
this
Barry
is
said
what-
everybody looks good except Chuck.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is why we do these tests. The good thing is that the end result is very nice.
Folks,
Working
we'll
with a
have to revise our advice. Do not join us live in the chat.
Oh no, we'll still hear. We just may look a little weird. But if it gets fuzzy like that, then nobody can tell whether who has and has not shaved.
A new version of Keyboard Maestro is available.
There comes Webb. That's good. Holy cow, is that man green?
It's not easy being green. Unless you're Webb.
Yeah. Well, this was my official DeLorean Motor Company shop shirt. So
Wow. I haven't seen that logo in a long time.
I saw a DeLorean at a car show at the Illinois Railway Museum yesterday on Sunday.
You're at the Illinois Railway Museum on Sunday?
I was.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, it's a great place. They were having a huge car show too. There was all old cars everywhere.
So,
How
so
weird.
Barry in the chat room says 1 year at summer camp when I was in high school, some of the guys started only shaving half of their face. Why?
I'm not
The year
surprised
I
with you,
went to-
Barry.
The year I went to Macstock, I went to the Illinois Railroad Museum the day before.
Yep. They have lots of trains there. Great collection.
Send a link.
They do. I certainly did not see the whole thing. And we were there quite a while.
Why am I only at 58?
What'd you say, Marty?
That's weird.
VertShark guy is saying send a linksy.
It's in the Slack.
yeah, and by the way, Chuck, just so you know, I am using the Riverside app tonight, not the browser.
Okay. Good.
So am I.
Good.
I just clicked on a link and it opened it up in Chrome.
I'm still using Chrome. Maybe
Okay,
if
I am
you
too. Hey, Eric.
maybe if you say this is permanent, I'll
Hello.
download the app.
I'm hoping by in the near future I'll be able to use the app. Barry says, well, some left on the left side, some on the right side.
Did you, Eric, did you make it to your destination today, or are you still down in Columbus?
No, I am. What will tell me where I am?
Oh,
I
You are-
don't know. Someplace with a lot of stoplights.
Oh, there you are.
You don't know where you
Let's
are?
see. Westchester?
What state is that?
Thornton? No, Cheney? Somewhere near Brandywine.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Westchester?
Eric,
Oh, Westchester.
You got some
What?
hum.
Not
Got
loud
some
enough?
hum going on.
Oh, probably because I was leaning on the mic. Is that any better? Jiffy?
Yeah.
Oh, did I turn everything off?
Jim, say something.
Something.
Did I turn this?
In the
Okay.
way she moves.
I considered that, but I didn't want everyone to hang up.
Okay.
How about now?
Anybody else here watch the show Grantchester?
No? Yes?
On PBS?
Yes.
Something?
I haven't watched it last 3 years, I guess, but I have. So
Now I can't hear anybody. Why can't I hear anybody?
They just had their last episode.
No?
It just ended.
Nothing?
We watched it a night or two ago. But I just found out that
Oh, there. I muted myself. Or I mean, turned off
Robson
my sound.
Green, the actor that plays Geordie, I didn't realize he's been a big star in England for decades and also had a singing career.
Really?
That's more or less what I said.
All right, guys, let's see if we can get this off the ground. Eric, for your
Fingers crossed.
information,
Yeah.
your image appears to be frozen, but don't.
He's not frozen
Let
for
that-
me.
He's not frozen
Yeah.
for you.
no, but
It's pixelated.
definitely pixelated pretty bad.
He's,
Yeah.
Okay.
he's fuzzy, but
Yeah.
he's not frozen at all.
It's
All right.
It's
Maybe I
robot
need to stop
moving too.
Well, based on what happened
Uh.
last week, okay. I mean, Eric, you came through perfect last week. As once it finished doing the upload, it was great. So don't let the fact
Okay.
that you're frozen now concern you too much. Uh-oh.
Here we
Hey,
go.
we can tell guys here because now there's an echo. Because now there's an echo.
An echo.
So
An
he's
echo.
talking.
An echo. Go.
Yeah. Yeah. We can't hear you, Guy. We can't hear you, Guy.
Oh,
But we're hearing ourselves. We're hearing ourselves come
We
back.
only get the echo, not.
1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4,
No,
4.
now we got him.
Okay. Test.
But when he's not talking,
No.
you still see sound waves. So cycling through.
I just turned up my microphone, like right when you heard my voice, so I don't know what was going on before then.
Do you have anything coming your speakers? Through your speakers?
Yeah, we're good. No, as soon as I turn up the volume on my microphone, everything goes dark except for headphones.
Okay, so then what is sending it back to me?
I hear it too.
I
Does
hear
anybody else hear it?
No,
Yes.
everybody hears.
I
Everybody
do.
hears.
I do.
I'm not
Yeah.
hearing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
shit, then it's probably me.
It is you
Oh,
because this is
definitely,
exactly
because
what happened
As
last
soon
week.
as your screen came up,
Do you have audio hijack?
Loop back it.
Loop back it.
Audio hijack.
Like that.
Audio hijack. Is it still going on?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I have to leave because I'm getting a flashback with all this
Echo, 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 echo.
And the chat room is
wrong
hearing
with
it
it?
too because they're very just commenting.
Yeah. Mute your mic, guy. Mute your mic. That does. See what that does. Still happening?
Test.
I don't know.
Yep. But your mic didn't go muted. Tell you what, Guy, I'm going to mute your mic. Okay, Guy's mic is now
There.
muted. And
Yep.
we're all fine.
Check.
So,
Nope,
Yeah.
it's you. It's you.
Huh. Odd.
so it's something about your mic, Guy. Now, I don't have him muted, but we couldn't hear him.
Yeah, when you spoke, we couldn't hear you.
Oh, we still have the echo. Oh, wait,
Yes,
no,
we do.
no.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We do.
Check.
Yep.
You sound fine.
Check. We don't. Yeah, when you talk, it's fine. But we back. Us back.
All right, I'm going to drop out for a second.
What's interesting about it, though, is that I'm not seeing it come up as coming from him. I don't think. Hey, chat room. Sorry, we are not going to do another hour's worth of troubleshooting. But we are just going to run a little late. I'm going to give Guy one more chance to see if he can get in here because we don't want to hold you all up.
I see the echo when other people are talking. I see, and he's quiet. I still see the microphone wave sound on his screen. So I think it's connected.
Time out.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I'm going to log out and log back in. I got to change this W Bixby to a real name. So, and I can't figure out how to do that. So I think I have to go out.
Hang on a second, Webb. If that's all you need, let me see if I can do it. Nope, don't do that.
Change it to like Disraeli.
That'd be nice. Come on.
No, I can't, Webb. Sorry.
Well, you just. Be able to. I'll be right back.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, because
surprise us,
this guy. Yes, chat room. If you weren't here last week, we're trying a new service and experimenting a little bit. So the end result for the recording is notably better, but the live stream may not be quite as good. So we're working through some of the issues here. I'm not sure one of my issues tonight is maybe my internet connection is not as good because I'm running way behind on my upload. But anyway, so that's what you're hearing and seeing and why things are a little rough here.
Maybe we're not going to keep is Backblaze going?
No, I checked that, Jim. I checked that. It was, yeah. And I also was doing some work with my music, and I double checked to make sure Apple Music wasn't uploading anything. Okay, there comes Guy back. How about now?
Hello?
Check.
Check. I'm not.
I think you got it, Guy. No, Guy, you are awfully hot. You're awfully hot. That's the only thing, but that's probably easily fixed.
What do you do?
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that better?
No. Oh my goodness, you're blowing me out.
Way hot.
I got it turned down way low. Hold on. God damn it.
Yeah, hi Craig. I know I'm a little grainy, and I don't quite know why tonight. But try again, guys.
Well, Chuck, you said your uploads were lagging a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking maybe my bandwidth overall is questionable.
I think that's connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at 99%.
Yeah, you guys are running good.
Me too.
Where's Eric? Eric's low, but he's hotel Wi-Fi, so I would expect it. Oh.
Check. 1, 2. 1,
That's
2,
better.
That's good.
That's much better.
What'd you do to fix the echo?
Turned echo cancellation on. But it wouldn't let me do it. It wouldn't let me do it before.
Huh.
I saw the button there, and it was like I kept hitting it, and nothing was happening.
I can tell you this: if you didn't have your headphones connected yet, then it won't let you, which makes a certain amount of sense. Excuse me, I said that wrong. If you have your headphones connected, it won't let you turn it on or off.
Okay, well, this time when it was going through the cycle, I said, no, I don't have headphones on, and it was turned on automatically.
Okay. All right. Let's get Jeff just said he's definitely not going to make it. So, okay. So let's see what the show notes are over here. All right. Thank you,
I'm
Chaplain,
gonna
for bearing with us.
I'm gonna try something here.
No, don't try anything. Just leave it as is. It works.
I know, but I have the app, so okay. All right, I won't
No.
mess with it.
No, don't.
Yeah,
You're
don't,
fine.
don't mess with it. Yeah. Damn it. There it is again.
Hello?
Oh,
No,
okay.
I don't hear it.
Okay, no. But Marty, I can hear you pounding, baby. I'm
Oh, yeah, I am
some-
hearing something.
How do you adjust the volume from within Riverside? Or can you?
Hearing
Yeah,
like
I'm hearing like a lot of background noise.
Okay. Hello, Webb.
Okay, mic check, mic check.
Yeah.
Yeah,
your camera's
I
on.
got what sounds like a TV going in the background or
Well,
something.
it's Guy. Because it's coming. I think we're
All right, I
hearing
give up.
bleeding
give
from
up.
his ears.
All right, guys, have a good night.
No, wait, Guy. Hold on. Now it's not doing it. Now it's not doing it.
Huh.
the web. Go ahead. Web, go ahead. You talk.
Yeah, I just muted my mic. Testing one,
Hear
two,
that?
three. 1, 2, 3.
I'm gonna mute my audio and just tell me if it still's going on.
Okay,
Let's see.
so is anybody hearing me now coming back?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm
No.
hearing you. Don't hear anything come back.
But no echo.
Yeah.
No, not the echo, but it sounds like bleed.
Oh,
I don't hear anything.
it seems
Check,
good
check,
right
check.
now.
Is it still echoing?
No,
No.
not right now.
No.
Check. I hear Marty's keyboard.
Yeah, but it's not. We know what that is.
Now I hear it again.
Yeah, it's Guy because I'm watching the meters. Sorry.
There's no noise in here. I don't have my.
No, Guy.
Right.
It's not. It's not noise. It's bleed. It's if I'm hearing myself come back, not as an echo, but as bleed from your
It's gotta
ears.
be.
Yeah,
it's gotta
bleed
be
from
the
a headphone.
All right. Well, you guys have a good night. I'm gonna have to figure out something else.
Do you have any? Do you have a set of cans?
Somewhere. I'm not gonna worry about it. It's
right.
something I have to do. I have to do something about these. All right. Have a good night, guys.
All right. Sorry about that.
No, it's not your fault.
Sorry, guy.
Testing is painful. Testing is painful. All right, so let's. Oh, thank you, Craig. In the chat.
Oh, nice.
Mm. All right, so here we go. In 3, 2.
Underpants.
Anybody? Yeah, thank you. Okay, I was going to say anybody other than Craig want to do. All right, 3, 2. Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is Mac Voices Live. It's Tuesday night. It's after 8 p.m. because we are still testing a new system here, trying to figure out all the subtleties of it. We did it last week, and it was a little bit rough last week for you and for us as we did the show. But this week, it looks better for us so far, and the recording from last week turned out wonderful. So we're going to try it again, see what happens here, and see if we can't tame the beast. A lot of stuff to get to tonight, so we're just going to dive right in. But first, I want to introduce who's here. So first up, in an undisclosed location on hotel Wi-Fi, so he's going to be his picture's going to be a little bit rough, but again, the recording will come out great. Eric Bolden. Eric, thanks for being here from wherever you are.
I always love these non-disclosed locations. Hopefully the network will hold. Weather's great.
Good. No tornadoes or anything?
Nope. And you would probably know because I'm closer to you than to home. The home weather, though, I think it's raining. But I didn't get wet coming into the hotel. So.
Oh, good. Good job. Okay. Well, beside him, at least on my screen, is Jim Ray. Jim, good to have you.
Good to be had. You're at
Okay.
99%, so doing much better on Riverside this week.
Yes, definitely, definitely. David Ginsburg is back in his studio, so hopefully he won't get eliminated from the recording like he did last week. Dave, good to have you.
I don't know what happened, other than what you expect with the hotel Wi-Fi. It wasn't that great when I was there that last night, so to be expected. But so I'm glad to be back in here and ready to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Marty Gensius is here. Marty, good to see you. Although you kind of have a nondescript shirt on tonight, so you're not promoting anything.
No.
Or,
Well,
oh,
yes,
yes, you are.
am,
Oh, and
actually.
excuse me. It was just a little bit below the line. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice shirt.
Yeah. And tonight is my 42nd wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Yeah. Yeah. So
In a
of
row?
course I'm
Celebrating with
spending
us?
it with you. What?
Yeah,
In a
yeah.
row.
42 years in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. No breaks. No false starts. No breaks.
No do-overs.
No.
All right.
I'm in my
There you
do-over.
go. I'm advertising.
Okay. 42 years, Marty. That's impressive.
It
That's
is.
impressive.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You got married when you were 2, right?
No. No.
No.
No. We actually, it was later than most of our contemporaries at the time. And we went out to drove up to Cleveland today and went out to a nice Turkish restaurant and fed ourselves full with Turkish food and got back just in time for the show.
Great. Great. Well, thanks so much. And tell her thank you for sharing you with us. We appreciate it. Also looking very, very green is Webb Bixby. Webb, it's good to see you. You're just a symphony in green tonight.
Well, if I could use my background, then we'd see something different. But no, you can't do that. So anyway, good to be here. And the green shirt that I'm wearing is in part of my car history. I did have a DeLorean, and the guy down in Houston who owns all the parts there. We won't go into that, but anyway, my friend Stephen Wynn at DeLorean.com, he gave me this shirt. So now that doesn't mean if you contact him at DeLorean.com, he'll give you a shirt too. But I'm sure he won't do that. But he gave me one. So
well, it's worth a try.
Please don't mention my name, please.
All right. Nobody mentioned Webb's name.
Chuck, it's good to be here.
You need Kermit the Frog on your shoulder just to match into the green. So
okay.
Yeah, like that's gonna happen.
Kermit the Frog. Got it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, we're going to start out tonight with the something that it seems like it's so far in the past. When they do an earnings call on Thursday, by the time it gets to Tuesday, it's like, yeah, it's almost old news. But I just wanted to touch on it a little bit. Last week we talked about Apple breaking the $5 trillion mark. Well, that ended pretty quickly because Apple really took a hit after the earnings call. Came back a little bit today as we are recording this. But iPhone, Mac, and services revenue set new June quarter records. And Apple hit 1.5 billion paid subscriptions from its user base. So I think those are two pretty interesting statistics. I don't know that this was in the earnings call. If it was, I completely missed it. But Apple also spent a record $11.73 billion in R&D during Q3 2026. So those are the big financial hits financial updates. Anybody else see these and think that they were interesting, exciting? Anybody have any comments on the stock price debacle as the analysts seem to, so Webb, you're up.
Yeah. Just a couple of things that I noticed. Except for some of the things that are going on in China, it was still a pretty good financial quarter. Now this is Apple's third quarter. Remember, they will close out in 2 months from now for their fourth quarter. Their financial quarters are not on a fiscal year or on a calendar year. They're fiscal year lag. So their first quarter really goes into the Christmas buying season. So just keep that in mind. But like I said, their financial results were really pretty good. And even Wall Street said, that's pretty good. Was it absolutely record breaking in some respects? Yeah, but most no. But it still tanked the stock, 7-8%? And even what people were wondering, well, why is that? Okay. They've kind of recovered since. I didn't check it today. I'm sorry. I will if I need to, but it's just, in my mind, it's odd that people are quick to throw Apple off to the side and with their shareholder price, but they still had a pretty decent quarter financially. They made payroll this week. I'll put it that way. So over and over and over.
Yeah. Yeah, Webb, it just, there seems to be this pattern recently, and especially with Apple, that a little something comes out, somebody questions something, and then all of a sudden, the stock price drops radically because somebody says, oh my God, there's strong headwinds coming. And then common sense takes over and it slowly creeps back. Now it hasn't creeped back to where it was, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me that there's just this huge overreaction all the time.
Definitely an overreaction. But that's just the way the market fluctuates. All any of the other significant stocks, it doesn't need to be in the tech space, but you follow an energy company or a real estate company, they announce results, and regardless what the results are, unless they're just through the roof, the stock market's going to adjust, put it that way. Some could say that Apple stock was overpriced to begin with, but and I think there could be some truth to that as well, but the market always adjusts. So
yeah, guys, I'm going to put in an edit point here. Is anybody else getting a whole big?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Might be Brian.
Well, it looked like it was for a minute, but now it's just there. So
it's like somebody moving their mic around or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It looked like it was coming from Brian, but then he muted his mic and it still continued on. But it was...
Ooh. It's Eric.
Wow. It's Eric?
Or is that you, Marty?
No, I've kept my mic muted, basically.
I'm muted.
Yeah. I'm hearing it and I'm not seeing it at all on the monitor at all.
Yeah. It's not me. I just muted.
So ironically, have everybody mute out and see what happens. Glad I could help.
I don't understand.
What?
I don't understand.
Ghost in the machine.
Oh, guy says it's not me. Yeah. You infect us all, guy, and then you leave.
What the heck is that?
Yeah, that's...
I hear a mouse clicking. Like somebody's here and you don't see him.
Yeah, I know. That's just it. There is nobody else here, is there? No?
Oh my God, it's getting worse.
Hey, Brian. Do you mind leaving and coming back? Okay.
Please come back.
Yeah, please come back.
Yeah.
Please come back.
It was him.
It was him, but it wasn't showing on his meter.
I know. It was like it was picking up his keyboard, unless he had some sort of other mic connector. Or, I don't know.
I don't
That was
know.
weird.
I don't know. Yeah. So thanks, Barry. Barry said it's that escaped LLM trying to infiltrate your system or your stream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, could be. That was weird. Okay, well, while we're waiting for Brian to come back, so just as a quick reminder, you can see all the links to the articles we're talking about or the issues we're talking about at macvoices.com/show notes. They get updated every month, every week, shortly before the show, so you can see what's going on. So we're just going to keep on rolling. Maybe we're not. Yeah. That was you, David.
Typing.
I saw.
Well, I just put my phone down. That's all.
Brian,
Wow, that's sensitive.
unmute yourself, please.
Hello, test 1, 2.
Okay, we determined
Start
it was
typing.
you because it was gone while you were as soon as you left. But now we're fine.
One change that I made was I was on the app and then I moved to using it on Chrome.
Still hearing it.
Not much though. Not like it was. Okay, we'll just go with it and see what happens. I did not know that, I guess, John Turnus has had so much involvement with the MacBook Neo, but there's an article from Apple Insider that said that was what pushed Mac sales to unexpected Q3 heights. And so I guess it makes sense given what his position was prior to his ascendancy to CEO. But I just thought it was interesting that he was very much involved in that particular device, especially since that device spawned a podcast that, let's see, Eric, Dave, and Marty do.
And Brett.
You know, and Brett, sorry. Yes, sorry,
And
Brett. Brett, wherever you are. But also, Team Turnus drags retired vice president of hardware engineering back into Apple. So I was really surprised to see this. Someone that retired is coming back. On the other hand, anytime somebody moves into that position, they're going to bring some of their own lieutenants or rearrange things. And this is clearly something that he wanted, because you just don't pull people out of retirement for nothing, or tempt them out of retirement. Let's put it that way. But I recall the lady's name. I was not familiar with it though. Was anybody else familiar with her?
I wasn't.
No. Okay. I guess we're going to get more from.
I think the name sounded vaguely familiar to me.
I thought that
Yeah.
she was on screen during the announcement for one of the MacBook Airs in one of the videos that they did. I do have another comment about her though after we get to this question.
Yeah. Webb, now that you say that, now I'm thinking about some of the photos that accompanied those articles, and I do remember seeing one that looked like it was lifted from that. So I think you're right. I think
I
you're
read
absolutely right.
what Webb just said as well,
Yeah.
that she was on screen for one of the MacBook Air announcements. I think in
Yeah, they showed her.
2018.
Yeah. Webb, you had another comment.
Well, it goes under the statement of when you take somebody out of retirement. Okay. And remember, it's a cruel world, but you either resign or you retire, and there is a difference between the two. And if she actually retired, and if she had any kind of deferred compensation agreement, she was taking any withdrawals from that, and then she goes back in, and especially to the same company, and if she goes back in, she could have some pretty serious financial penalties for doing that. Hence, I'm sure that Apple was going to cover any of those additional expenses to bring her back in. So it's a lot bigger deal than she just unretired and came back to work on Tuesday. You know, there's a lot more to it than that. So now it could be that she didn't take any deferred compensation withdrawals anyway. And she was probably young enough, maybe she didn't. But But my point is that's just the issue. It's a lot more complex to unretire, if you will, if you did actually retire.
I didn't even think about it from that standpoint, Webb. As you're talking about it, yeah, it's grinding through my head. And okay, so that makes it even more interesting, and was an expense that Apple wouldn't necessarily have had to bear unless you really wanted her. So
It will be interesting when the 10K and the proxy comes out next year to see how they document that, because they will have to declare it in at least the 10K, if not the proxy. So
yeah. Well, meanwhile, by then, hopefully, we'll be familiar with a lot more of her work and see a lot
Yeah.
more of her, because it certainly sounds like that's to be expected.
that being said, good for her, and good for John to bring her back. I think he must think an awful lot of her to do that. So I'm done.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. So let's see. Johnny Cerrugi was rearranging his operation. Now John has brought her back. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit different Apple come September 1st, give or take. Not a bad thing, just a different Apple. Let's see. Oh, here's a big surprise. Apple says UK App Store steering rules would be highly intrusive. Yeah. What's new? Everything the UK does seems to be highly intrusive. Or the UK and the EU. So it's worth noting, though.
Well, remember, don't mix those two, because the Great Britain jumped out of the European Union.
Right.
So
Right. But once in a while, it seems like, I'm not sure who's taking a page out of whose book, but it seems like they are both doing different things that are having the same effect. So I'm curious about how you all feel about this one. Apple is finally making copy paste work between iPhones and PCs. So I'll tell you right now, my knee jerk reaction was I don't like it, and then I started thinking about it. Anybody have strong feelings, thoughts, opinions?
Why
Yes,
don't you
Dave?
like it?
I didn't like it because it just didn't feel like it's something that should be interacting with Windows. But I changed my
Also,
thinking.
isn't this only in the EU?
Didn't see that part, Jim. Maybe it is.
I thought it was an EU thing and maybe had to do with EU mandates.
I don't know.
Yes,
I
it's
don't
the
know.
EU.
It is just EU? Okay.
And then plus it's going to be part of iOS 28. So we got a long way to go.
Yeah. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, okay, does this open up the window for iPhones even a little? Sorry for the pun. Does this open things up a little bit more for the iPhone? Does it make someone maybe who is a Windows user a little more inclined to use an iPhone if they were to include this? And I missed the part that was in the EU. Dave?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. I mean, just like Android and iPhone, now they've opened that all up, so you can share files with each other. We finally can not have problems with messaging. You know, they're open up things for Android. Well, I mean, Windows. You know, there are still a lot of people out there who have iPhones who use. You know, they choose they want to use a Windows machine. Granted, it's only in the EU. That's a lot of people, but not in the United States. But I don't see it being a problem. I mean, Microsoft is making so many changes with Windows as it is anyway. What's this going to be?
Yeah.
I can't understand why it would be a problem, and I don't really understand why they wouldn't want to do it worldwide.
Right.
Yeah.
Jim, that's the conclusion I eventually came to, is that, this might be removing a barrier. I mean, in some ways, I hate to see somebody not in the Apple ecosystem have the benefit of those features. On the other hand, maybe it allows them to become part of the Apple ecosystem.
I guess you could look at it like somebody might be like, oh, good. Now I can exchange the clipboard between my phone and Windows, so I don't need to switch to the Macintosh. But I don't think anybody's going to switch to Macintosh just for that.
Well, I also think it's people might have as their personal preference an iPhone, but their work is in a PC system, and it allows them to do a little bit more easier to do crossover from what's on their phone to what's on maybe the PC that their work environment is requiring them to use.
Mhm.
Do we know anything about the technical? Like, is something have to be installed on the Windows system? How does it know which, if there's 3 Windows machines in the room, how does it know which one to connect to and that sort of thing?
I would think there has to be a driver of some kind.
Yeah.
It's users will need to grant a one-time consent prepared Windows accessory using a new framework similar to Apple's accessory notifications and live activity systems. So that's the functionality.
Yep.
So is anybody here technically well-versed enough to know if this presents any kind of a security issue for the iPhone? Now, we know the iPhone's locked down real well, but the fact that could I paste something nasty from my Windows machine over to my iPhone?
Why would that be any different than pasting it from anywhere else?
From a Mac.
Probably wouldn't be, Jim, but but the Windows machines seem to have a lot greater, they're a bigger target and therefore have more compromise issues going on. And so that's,
yeah, but I mean, it's probably, what is it going to allow? Is it just text going back and forth? I didn't see that, but it's certainly going to be a limited, range of data. It's not like you're going to be able to paste a document or something. So, I mean, if you can paste, text, I mean, text is text. It doesn't matter where it comes from. And yeah, if you like paste some text into an SQL field that's not secure, then I suppose that could be a problem, but that means somebody designed an app wrong. But it's not going to matter where. It's not going to matter where the text came from.
Yeah, but you can paste pictures. I mean, you can paste images. There are a lot of things that will go onto the clipboard that can be pasted.
Maybe or not.
Well, I mean, I don't know if this will support images. Maybe it will, but if it did, again, images are, you can get images onto an iPhone already. So, it's not like, there's Windows has some special way to craft a malicious image that couldn't be crafted some other way. If you allow paste, then you better, no matter where it's coming from, you better make sure that, you're protecting your system so that if something malicious is on the clipboard, then it doesn't hurt your system. But it's not like Windows, just because it's a Windows machine, that doesn't, I mean, you can paste from a Macintosh, and you could make, anything you want on the clipboard with a Macintosh. So,
well, I absolutely right. But I guess where I'm going is maybe I'm just looking for a problem, right? But it seems like the likelihood or potential likelihood of something bad happening on the PC is a lot greater than something being pasted from the PC has a greater likelihood of being a problem than if it's pasted from the Mac.
as a developer, I don't see that. I mean,
okay,
pasting is pasting. It's an API. So
okay,
there's nothing special about Windows in terms of making a malicious paste target, and you're not allowed to. There's no mechanism for pasting code, for example. So, you can't like automatically paste something and have code run. You know,
Right.
there's no JavaScript or whatever. I mean, you could put JavaScript text in the clipboard and paste it somewhere and run it, but again, you could do, you know, that's not really a clipboard thing.
Right. Okay. Just, hey, gotta ask. Gotta ask. Anytime you interact with the Windows world, you gotta ask. Okay, so we have a new lawsuit. And this one I think is really interesting. Apple Photos facial features prompt a $32.5 billion class action lawsuit from Apple Insider. And if I understand this correctly, it has to do with Apple doing facial recognition on your photos and having it be allowed to recognize photos without the user's permission. And I'm assuming that the way I read it is that's you, the user, that it just started doing this in the background, and we all said, "Oh, this is great," you know, because it's going back and tagging people that, you know, once we identify someone as one person, then it starts to sort through all the photos. And so, okay, I kind of see their point. I'm not sure that it's not a little too late. I'm also not sure it's not somebody looking to try to cash in. But this didn't feel, because it's being done, I guess it's not being done on my device. I guess it's going through Apple servers. But I need more information on this one to know how I feel. But is this potentially a real issue? Brian, any thoughts?
You know, when I was taking a look at this, I was thinking, you know, for one, like you were thinking, you know, is this on the device or is this something that Apple does have? You know, like is that data shared with Apple? And I don't know, like it feels okay to me. I mean, in the sense that, you know, it stays within that app. It's only you're correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're tagging your own photos. Like it identifies things that look similar to one another, and you say, "Oh yeah, that's me." You know, you give it a name, and then that way later on you can search for me, and the photos that resemble me based on that come up. So it feels like this isn't in this, I don't know, maybe spirit of the rule or the law versus the actual legal context of it. It seems like it would be something that I wouldn't be upset with Apple over, as far as the claim of you know, biometric data being collected.
Barry in the chat room says Jason Snell pointed out on Upgrade that the auto face recognition is device specific and does not sync. It's only the manual tagging of people that users do that gets synced in iCloud Photos. Okay. So if it's only on device, then and again, if I don't think I read this wrong, but I kind of had the impression that they were saying that you would have to go out and ask whoever you took pictures of and they're in your photo library to get permission so that it can be scanned. Now maybe that's not the way it's intended. Maybe I just misread it, but I'm just not quite sure. I'm confused. Marty, any does this bother you? Should this be worthy of a lawsuit?
You know, for me, it's a question of whose action. You know, is it the user or is it that Apple's that's creating this tagging or responsibility? And is the user informed ahead of time that the biometrics are being used and they're wherever they're being run or calculated? That's where kind of for me, where the lawsuit lives or dies in terms of how well informed users are about it and who's taking the actual action. Is it Apple or is it user? There's a case here where they talk about on-device kind of facial recognition, and it doesn't sync. That could be the issue with the case all around.
Well, if Jason's right and Barry said someone needs to send Jason's take control of photos to the judge, then it's on device. And why should I be prevented from using something that's only on device? And how is that violating? If I have a bunch of pictures of Marty in my photos from MacStock, and it's recognizing him and building that facial recognition, but it's not synced anywhere. And the only thing that is synced is if I take that particular profile and say, okay, this is Marty Gensius. I'm really struggling with it. I kind of get where, to Brian's point, I kind of get where the spirit is, but I'm not sure I agree with the way it's headed. So, Eric, you're awfully quiet.
Yeah, I was
Thoughts on this?
debating. So all of the initial stuff is on device, and I think there's absolutely no problem with it. But if on your device you go through the, there are a bunch of pictures of this person. Do you want to add a name in? You can add a name, whatever you want, and collects all of that on your device. If you then take that grouping of pictures and then create an album or whatever, that gets synced across all your devices. Now that's not, so there's biometrics used to help you gather all the images together, but you're still the one creating the album. So I don't know if there's just kind of confusion over which parts of that exist. The other thing is on device, and if you have another device and it identifies who all the people are, it kind of looks like it's working across multiple devices going through iCloud. And that doesn't appear to be the case, or at least as far as how I understand it works. So, it may just be that what is actually happening has to be clarified, but it's going to be a whole lot easier to use your device to identify a bunch of images, group them together, put them in some spot, and then have all of that information synchronized to all of your different devices so they all have the same albums and you can conveniently hop from device to device. And then the question is, well, who made that possible in iCloud? And is any of that considered biometric data? And I don't understand the Illinois rules enough, but I would hope that it doesn't get to the point where, Apple has to say, well, everybody gets to use photos except for Illinois, because that would be painful.
Okay, so first of all, you brought up something that I kind of forgotten as I got lost in the mix, and that is that this is based on an Illinois law. So it's, we're back to the discussion of states and even countries trying to regulate different things. But again, I mean, this is something that I do for myself. And yes, definitely the user should maybe have been asked. I honestly can't remember if I was ever asked, did I want to use whatever the Apple term is for facial recognition on my photos. I kind of think I did, and I definitely would have said sure.
Yeah.
Because what's it going to cost? But if it wasn't set up that way, but that also was probably at a time before there was so much paranoia over everything being tagged and identified and all. But even so, this seems to stay within the walled garden. It's not like I'm sending the profile of Eric Bolden out to somebody else that could be used to recognize him when he's out at undisclosed locations.
Yeah, and this is very different from, like, say, Facebook, having you tag somebody in images, and then everybody who follows somebody else all of a sudden knows who that person is and where they were. That's a fair amount of data. But I mean, frankly, if you take a picture and upload a picture and it has a location and a time and when the picture was taken, does it? I guess it matters if something is able to generate the data and then you upload it, this is just a case of the laws not quite matching up with recent changes in technology, or most likely somebody misunderstanding what is being done on device and mixing it up with something being done on a bunch of servers, like Google Photos or Facebook photos or something like that. And there is a difference, and it might be subtle enough that that wasn't being recognized so far in the lawsuit. Hopefully, I guess I don't mind this kind of lawsuit, because hopefully it allows Apple to kind of clarify what's happening, explain it, and document it. Yeah, it's a big expense for them, but maybe that'll help other states know what to do with their laws and how to clarify it. So
Yeah, because other states will have lawsuits, unfortunately. Barry says, didn't this feature begin in iPhoto? I think it was originally called Faces. Now they call it People. Yeah, I think so. And that's how far back it's been. And that's where I can't remember if I was asked if I wanted to turn this feature on or not.
they did ask, and you can do pets too.
Yeah.
And the identification, I think you have to do. Like, it'll group pictures that are say, these are all this person. And then it asks for confirmation. Are these all this person? And, do you want to add a name or something else? So
is that enough? Is that enough of a notification that if you're asked to identify them, that obviously you're identifying them?
Yeah, and it's still on device at that point.
Yeah. And I know, I got to believe that this was something that you were asked to turn on, because there was, back then, it required a lot more of the processing power of your Mac to do this, the percentage wise, than what it does now. So again, this one doesn't feel as questionable as some of the other lawsuits. I'm not necessarily sure I like it, but it just doesn't feel quite as bad. A few weeks ago, we talked about TV Time going out of business. And so I threw a piece into the show notes. There's a new TV tracking app called Bingers that is available now for you to use. Anybody using this or heard of it? Or because I think we did have some TV Time users here, at least with the panel that discussed it then. So if you need a TV tracking app, check it out and let us know what you think. But where was this from? This was from 9 to 5 Mac that they pointed it out. Okay, so we've been talking about bending spoons now for quite a while, back when nobody had heard of bending spoons, and how they were buying things up. Well, now they've agreed to acquire Airtable in an all-cash deal valuing the U.S. software company at $1.25 billion, set to close by 2026 end. Its first IPO deal. And this is one we talked about, the IPO a couple weeks ago. They have bought up Evernote. They bought up Vimeo. I know I'm going to forget one or two others that we've talked about, but they seem to be gathering up an interesting little stable of companies that aren't necessarily related. And I don't think I realized how widespread Airtable was, and what widespread use it was. This apparently is something that a lot of folks use in lieu of a database. Anybody here use Airtable?
Database.
Well, sorry, Jim, you broke up.
I don't know why you're saying in lieu of a database. It is a database.
It is, okay.
And all I can say is, they're one of my competitors, and what am I doing wrong?
So have you ever played with it,
vending
Jim?
spoons, my number is.
Yeah. Has anybody played with this or used it at all?
Airtable?
Yeah.
A little bit. competitive analysis.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Hmm.
It's one of those apps that I've had on my need to check out list, and I just never get to it because I really don't. I'd be looking for something. Now, I know the people that use it seem to think that they can't live without it, and they find uses for it. So, obviously, somebody thought it was worth something because it's 1.25 billion valuation.
Although I saw something, about the revenue, which, although much higher than my company's revenue, much higher, but it's nowhere near high enough to justify the kind of valuations that we're talking about. So
Yeah.
puzzling.
So, if you're an Airtable user, watch out. Dave?
I know I remember this, but I don't know if I should bring it up or not. I remembered Allison wrote a piece many years ago about she finally understands how databases work, and Airtable was one of the things that she used, the free Airtable app. So there's some people out there that are trying this, and she, how she has with all her stuff, but yeah, so it did have some. I remember her doing this review. She might have even done a screencast online on it too. So it's obviously used out there.
Yeah. I've definitely been hearing about it for quite a few years.
Apparently, it has a fair audience in government for doing things that I guess they kind of quick and well. I better not do that. I was going to say quick and dirty, but hopefully the government is doing anything quick and dirty.
Well, I think that is where the Airtable market is. Especially, you can do a fair amount with the free version, but it's pretty limited. It doesn't have a big, like up end. So, you could start doing something and then, but I think it's something that's, pretty easy for non-technical people to get into. So, it's kind of like a step above Google Sheets, and it's a similar product, I think, to Google Sheets.
Okay. Well, again, if you're an Airtable user, let us hear from you and let us know what you think. Or as we go down the line here, see what changes they make to it.
Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's kind of semi-related. There's been a thread on the ATP, Accidental Tech Podcast, the last several episodes about FileMaker. And I guess they made some comment on one of the shows like, oh, is FileMaker still around? And
yeah,
I guess they heard from quite a few people that, what are you talking about? Of course, it's still around. And then John Siracusa was like, basically like, oh, well, okay, I guess it's still around, but nobody should use it. And, he was like, just vibe code something.
Jim, I wasn't going to go there, but that was one of the first things I thought about. That from what I know about Airtable, are people, not everyone is going to vibe code something, but is that a threat to this? Is this one of those things of software as a service is under the gun by vibe coding? So,
I think it's at some area of it probably is, but I don't think it's a majorly. I thought John's argument was kind of like ridiculous. It's like, well, so is he advising that people should stop using Microsoft Word? Just vibe code a word processor. I mean, there's, people don't want to code everything themselves. There's something to be said for a solution that starts out of the box, and you're not starting at the low level and building pieces at the lowest level. You want to start at somebody's already put together You know, it's like, oh yeah, you know, why are you buying a car? Just, you know, buy a bunch of parts and put them together.
It might be interesting to vibe code word processor. Just with
I'm
the
not
features
saying,
you want.
I'm not saying nobody should do it, but to say that, well, John was basically saying nobody should use a database program. You know,
Yeah, that's not really realistic. I mean, it all
no.
depends on your use
No.
case. So,
Chuck, if I could, a
yeah,
couple of
I'm
things.
sorry.
And I don't want to talk about the Airtable acquisition. I'm more interested in Bending Spoons. We've talked about them on the show before, so I don't want to belabor the conversation on that. But they're really interesting. First of all, they gotta have 2 metric tons of cash for some of these deals that they're doing and some of the money that they're putting out. Now, I'm not sure if it's all, in this case, 1.3 billion all cash or what. It doesn't matter. But they seem to be going in. I've just been looking at Wikipedia, because if it's in Wikipedia, it's got to be true, right? But looking at some of the other acquisitions that they've done about Eventbrite and whatever was left of AOL when they bought that. I think they bought that for the name, by the way. But but they've been through, like we said, 1.3 billion here and several hundred millions, but not billion-dollar deals. At least about a dozen of them that I'm seeing on here. And on some of them, they've gone in and bought the assets and liquidated the staff. Okay. And there were a couple of them here that I've read that they got rid of 2/3 of the staff, not all of them, but I'm interested to see what Bending Spoons' long-term plan is, and whether they want to be this conglomerate or whether it's just an asset deal where they buy them, spin them out one way or the other, and try to generate cash that way. So it's just interesting how they're doing it. So, and what they're doing that we really don't know. So,
Well, Webb, the only product I can think of right now that I'm a frequent user of, and I know Jim is too, is Vimeo. And when Bending Spoons acquired them shortly after that, I know there was a big thing, a big kerfuffle about how many of the staff were laid off. But I started to see changes in the service. Some, honestly, were good and probably were overdue. Others looked to me like, they were kind of sloppy and not very in keeping with the interface that Vimeo had developed. And there's still one feature about uploading a thumbnail that still feels really, really clunky to me. Other than that, I'm not going to say it's untouched, but it's kind of gone left or right. It really hasn't gone up or down. So I think it's going to be interesting to see, and what is their end game, as you said, with this interesting little portfolio of companies they're putting together.
The price has gone up, although so far it's not, catastrophically so.
Yeah, and you sort of figured that would be the case. So,
I mean,
Dave?
Yeah, I mean, you go on their website, they say we acquire and improve iconic products. I'm like, okay. I mean, I just look at some of the other things that I forgot that they have AOL now, and they have StreamYard, Brightcove. I mean, Everbright and Meetup. I mean, they have a lot of companies here that they've just scooped up. WeTransfer was popular too. So they got quite the portfolio.
Meetup is a company that's really
since 2024 they've had it.
Yeah, that company is that's terrible. And I know a lot of people that are abandoning Meetup because it's just turned into the prices have gone up through the roof. And
even Eventbrite, they just picked that up in March of this year. So I mean, they're going crazy.
Eventbrite?
I mean, AOL is
that what you said? Eventbrite?
Eventbrite, yeah, that's the ticket. EVENT, right? That's a ticketing.
Yeah, no, I know about them.
Platform.
I had not heard that they picked that up, and that's going to be interesting too.
Well, and that's it. You think about just what the companies we just mentioned. They're so widely diversified. It's not like they're trying to corner the market in event registration or video hosting or anything like that. It's just they seem to be dipping their toes in a lot of different places, and maybe in some places having
GE
success.
under Jack Welch.
That's interesting comparison, Jim. Yeah. So, hey, we'll see what we'll talk about next time with Bending Spoons, because it doesn't look like they're done anytime soon.
Yep.
I've got to hit 2 Microsoft stories here because I've been having some recent experiences with Copilot. Some have been okay. Some have been not than the okay ones, but it's there. But it really, side by side, trying to compare it it's no comparison to Claude or ChatGPT. I mean, it does a lot of the same things, but the others do it so much better and so much more elegantly that, but it is what it is. But Microsoft's Copilot World Worm still works 144 days after disclosure. That's a lot of days for something like that to continue to be a problem. So take that for what it's worth. Microsoft is merging its Copilots into one AI super app. And I find this fascinating because right now I'm watching Copilot suddenly show up in my Office 365 all over the place. It wants to help me compose emails. It wants to help me read emails. It wants to help me make calendar entries. It's just everything is Copilot. It's so Microsoft, way over the top. But Dave, I usually turn to you because you're working on the IT side of things. What would you say to a Copilot super app?
Well, I mean, it threw everybody off at work because all of a sudden they changed their interface. And now it says, they have the co-work, which everybody's doing. You have Claude, you have ChatGPT. They're all doing this now with work and not work. What happens is it intertwines the work and the internet now, because you have it's called Work IQ. Because I'm looking at the interface now, and basically what it's doing is it's interacting with any of the work data that's out in your work network, and then anything that's out on the internet. And you could turn that on and off. And also the models that they're using, you have it set to auto, but if you go in there, you have the GPT, which is OpenAI, and then you got the 5.6 and 5.5, and then you have Claude. They have Somnet and Opus. So you have, those are basically the models it's using. But you could set it for auto, and it just does it. So technically, I mean, it's using both those technologies anyway, OpenAI and Claude. So, but the interface itself, I just had something today. I was looking forward to help fix the problem with OneNote on an iPad, and when I asked what it to look at, it actually went out to my work in Teams and found something we had discussed and what the fix was. So to have that ability, of all the years that I've done IT support, and have that ability now that I didn't have 20 plus years ago, that in itself kind of just impressed me to no end, because people still don't get into that mentality of using that tool to look for things to have it fixed. You just automatically assume you got to call the help desk. You're going to have to get things working. That's really the way it's always been. But hey, I have the tool. I'm going to use it, and I'm going to get the answer right away for you, hopefully. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Microsoft is just going like gangbusters with Copilot. Copilot is everywhere. In enterprise. Everywhere I turn, you've got companies that are using this, and it's hard to ignore, but it's not the tools that everybody else uses. You look at OpenAI and you look at Claude. Those are the top two, really, at this point.
Yeah, in spite of all of Microsoft's efforts.
Yeah.
Marty, are you seeing anything from your perspective, from the academic world?
No, the academic world bases its decisions on what our IT department does, and so much of IT is tied into Microsoft and the Microsoft product line that it's kind of ironic because no one's talking about Copilot at this point at my university. The approved AI at my university is Gemini, even though we're a Microsoft shop. So that's what's approved. That's not what anybody's using. I mean, there are people that are using it, but I know more people that are doing probably ChatGPT or Claude at this point because they're picking up on the strengths of the AIs for particularly creative and productivity kind of work that's not necessarily tied to either Google or a larger Microsoft system. Although there are plenty of, I mean, everything we use has got Copilot from Microsoft world when we turn it on. But our AI supposedly is Gemini.
Interesting.
This seems a little backwards. It's, whereas everybody else is defining work and code or chat and work and then code, combining them all together, it might be an opportunity for Microsoft to look at what the cost of running AI is and passing that on to consumers because they don't have it parsed separately. When I'm running code, I know I'm using a lot of tokens, I'm using a lot of what's allocated to me. But if it's mixed together, I don't know what I'm using from one end to the other in terms of what it's going to cost me as an end user. So it seems different, backwards than what everybody else is doing. It's mashing it up instead of separating it out for particular tasks.
Yeah. Dave, quick follow-up comment.
Yeah, just going back to education versus enterprise. Enterprise is not doing what education does, because you have your world of where you work in, Marty, and then you have IT. And it sounds like in your world, those are two separate animals. You just they don't like to go like this and meld, and that's how you're supposed to be. But in enterprise, IT is not there to tell what the business to do. It's there to support the business to see what will help them improve things in their business. Agents is becoming an enormous piece right now in the enterprise world. Keeping that controlled is tough because everybody wants to create an agent. Everyone has all this data they want to manipulate and change because it's happening now, and I'm experiencing. It's at a point where we got to take a step back here. Let's do this. Companies look and see, oh yeah, this is going to be great. I mean, and Copilot is not replacing people. That's the big thing that everybody in enterprise worries about. Is this is going to replace my job? No, it's not. You need people to be able to do this stuff. But that's why I just wanted to put that follow comment on what you said because it's so different.
And you have you have captured it really well in terms of the difference between enterprise and how they approach it in terms of support versus education, where it's more a sense of let's restrict it because we don't want to have to put in more resources because more resources means more money, more person power and things like that. And all.
Yeah. And I want to get to Brian, but I got to throw this in, Dave. I respectfully disagree with you. I've been part of too many organizations where IT told people what they were going to do. You're right.
There are some out there.
It was more you will do this as opposed to how can we help you. So let the buyer.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate because I'm very blessed to have work for a company that doesn't do that. They try, but they don't. Things have evolved over these years. I have lots of experience dealing with this over all the years I've done and worked in my role to see how things have evolved. And this is. To me, this is an exciting time. I think this is something that we're finally going to be able to do with a tool like Copilot and get things done. And where the challenge is. Companies sit and using old technology. They don't get off of the systems. It takes them a long time. You know, there's still people out there still running Windows 10. They're still running XP in some cases. I mean, you just have to evolve, and I think this is really helping push that ahead. So I'll let Brian talk now.
Yeah, Brian, straighten us out.
Actually, I found it really interesting, hearing the differences there with the education and enterprise aspects. And maybe I took it from a different angle when I was looking at this article. I was, thinking about it from a state of present, and how long and how little amount of time, rather, also that LLMs and this, all the AI has been around in a very relatively short time period, right? We're only looking at just a few years here where this has really come aboard. And this evolution of Microsoft's aspect of this super app, where so many things are packaged into one. And then I think about the approach that Apple's taking, where it's even in beta stage right now, where half my devices are on beta, half of them aren't, and just kind of seeing more of that, like, baked in at the OS level, but kind of subtle, just when you need something, it's there. It's a very different approach. And I think it's not going to necessarily be a competition of which one will win out, but it would be very interesting to capture this moment in time and to reflect back on it in even 3 to 5 years, and see what type of just integration within our both personal and work aspects of our lives that AI really is there. And right now we're saying, oh, go use AI, where you go out and you use it. And I think back to, like, in the in the late 90s, going down to do research and having to go to the library, to go utilize that computer that had the faster internet than the dial-up speed that I had at home, and being able to seek out that information in a what would be now like a very archaic way. And I think this is just baby steps. I think it's just in the next 3 to 5 years, we'll look back and say, this is just part of just what we're doing. And it's just so ingrained and so part of it. So that's kind of the angle I was looking at it from.
No, thank you, Brian. Because
really
that is a really good observation, just to pull back. And to your point, I was just complaining, and I was complaining about Copilot, the Copilot button here, all through the interface, as opposed to the approach Apple seems to be taking of baking it in and just sort of letting it be there when you need it, but not push it at you. So, yeah,
I agree with you that the buttons are a little out of control.
A little.
I agree with you that the buttons are out of control.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Marty, you want to comment there?
I was just surprised that Brian had computers at his library to look things up. And the days of getting into the stacks and spending hours and hours of roaming around with a card catalog, some of my most enjoyable moments in my college career. Computers?
Yeah.
Some of my least favorite moments were searching through the microfiche, trying to dig up old information. That was just so painful.
The microfilm with the wheels too.
Oh yeah. Guys, we're starting to burn down time here a little bit. I'm just going to hit a couple real quick, but there's one that struck me. This is from Wired. Everyone is doing it. The truth about AI in Hollywood. Should this surprise anybody that Hollywood, of all places, is taking advantage of AI? I almost find it naive, and with no disrespect intended to any of the actors who are fighting against this, and the film industry folks who are pushing back on it. But it can do so much. It can do it so much faster. It can do so much cheaper. And so, do I want to see people lose their jobs? Of course not. Am I convinced that they will lose their jobs in the numbers that they're talking about? I'm not so sure. But yeah, why is anybody surprised? Marty?
Yeah, I got to jump in on this one. Hollywood has gotten so formulaic that fits in really well with AI. It's easy to like dump in the appropriate refrigerator magnets and it will generate a movie that is sort of like the other movie. So for me, it's not necessarily about the production as much as it is about the creative aspects in Hollywood. We have no auteurs anymore. We have no one trying to put out films and TV shows that are generated and creative new ideas. There are exceptions, but in general, and I know I'm going to upset a lot of people here. If I have to see another Spider-Man movie come out, haven't we beat that thing to death?
No, never.
It's because it's the
Never.
refrigerator magnet AI way of generating storylines. So that's it. I know I'm banned for life by some people for saying that, but doesn't surprise me. AI's all over Hollywood.
Marty, I can't let that alone. I know exactly what you're saying because it drives me personally crazy how many times they have quote unquote rebooted Batman, Superman, and a lot of the other superheroes, and especially when they redo the origin story. It's like we already know the origin story. There's so many great graphic novels to draw from out there. They're regular old novels to draw from. They're great stories for these characters, and yet they keep going for the low hanging fruit, and then are surprised when people don't respond to it well. And once in a while, you get a hit like they're just having right now with Spider-Man, where their way of doing it gets reinforced.
Yeah, and it also, I mean, the consumer, if they're going to spend that kind of money, wants to come and see something that is predictive, that they can feel comfortable with, that doesn't challenge them in ways so they know what they're walking into, and they'll know what they'll walk out with. And yeah, so Barry put in the chat room, apparently not. It topped all the other Marvel movies in its first weekend. Well, that's because we're used to pablum now. So they feed us more pablum.
Yeah. Brian, comment on Spider Noir?
Oh yeah, well, if you're gonna skip out on some of the Spider-Man movies, fair enough, but don't skip out on Spider Noir. It was phenomenal.
I just finished it, Brian. And did you watch it in color or in the black and white?
Black and white.
Oh, really? Okay, I watched it in color. Okay,
I did
Interesting
tease it
choice
in
right
color
there.
just to see what it would look like, just to see that oversaturated color was neat though.
Yeah, yeah. Eric, you feel like you went in on this?
Really, as long as they can manage to bring back after the movie ends, you get an extra scene for another movie. I don't understand how you could screw that up. You finally get all of the movie goers trained to not go home, to sit in their seats, waiting for all the credits, waiting for that next great scene. But the popcorn was good.
Manipulation at its best.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to wrap up with two that are just for fun. The Kremlin keeps trying to crack down on Apple, even though they don't sell the iPhone there. This is from Mac Trest. And it's a riot because apparently the Russian government wants 2 apps installed on all iPhones, even though Apple doesn't sell any iPhones within the Russian system. One of which is a Russian chat app, and one of which is a Russian app store. And then they wonder why. What could go wrong with this?
Oh, yeah, sure.
So, and the last one, Brian, this one kind of to your point about Spider Noir. Man invested $45 million in a Nicolas Cage movie. It got stolen off of Netflix desk on a hard drive.
And it saved us all having to see another Nicolas Cage movie.
Nicolas Cage movie.
Does that mean it was you, Marty? You're hiding it somewhere?
No, somebody invested that amount of money in a Nicolas Cage movie. Okay.
You know, you're missing the point of this. The point is that the memory shortages and hard drive shortages are so bad that somebody was willing to go to Netflix and steal all those hard drives. There's probably no chance they actually looked for the movie. They reformatted the drive and put it in circulation seconds later.
That's the best part, that they reformatted Nicolas Cage.
Wow. Okay. On that basis, yeah, I was going to start turning it into a security discussion, but apparently not. It just apparently everybody
When
is
you're
rooting
when you're stealing bad art, it's not a security issue.
Bad art.
Well, I'm thinking it was probably a really nice drive, very fast, you know. Which really does lead me to think, what were they thinking not locking up all of that hardware? You know, no one's used to it being that valuable. It's like gold bars sitting on a desk.
They'll make more money off the insurance claim than they will off a Nicolas Cage film.
Well, they're trying.
Okay. We're going to end it on that because I'm afraid we're sliding into slander territory here. Guys, thanks so much. I really appreciate all the wisdom and comments. Chat room, thank you. And thank you for your patience with some of our testing issues here. We just are going to keep plowing on and we get it all figured out. But before we do, let's find out where you can connect with these people when they're not here helping us test out systems. I'm going to keep the same order, sort of, because I know things get shuffled around here in this particular interface. So first up, Eric Bolden, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it, wherever you are. Where can folks find you when you're not in an undisclosed location?
I can be found on Mastodon at eabolden@mes.to. Otherwise, let's see, Sundays on the Neo Notebook, Mondays on Vision Profiles, Tuesdays, of course, here on Mac Voices Live, and Thursdays on In Touch with iOS.
Thanks so much, Eric. Good to see you. Jim Ray, thank you for being here and giving us a developer perspective. Where can folks find you?
Go to the provue.com website, provue.com, and there's contact information there. There's social media stuff, but I'm hardly paying attention to that anymore, so I might not notice for a while if you messaged me on social media.
Okay, well, then just come here and type something into the YouTube chat and we'll relay it to Jim. How's that?
There you go.
There you go. Web Bixby, thank you for being here. And now you know you've set a standard for being color coordinated in the future.
Well, okay. Thank you. So on Tuesdays, you can find me at Mac Voices Live.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Nothing else? Nothing else?
No, and you can find me on all the major socials. I have the same handle, WebBixby, WEBBIXBY. And I kind of stick with Blue Sky because I still like the name, and Chuck invited me. So
great. Thanks so much, Web.
Thank you.
David Ginsburg, thank you for being here. Glad that you made it back and things were a little more stable this week. Where can folks find you?
Yes. You find me at In Touch with iOS, intouchwithios.com, YouTube channel, youtube.com/intouchwithios. You find me on Sunday nights, the Neo Notebook, Monday nights, Vision Profiles, Tuesday nights here, Thursdays on In Touch with iOS, we record live, and then Fridays on the Tech Hangout, as well as I'm on Mastodon and Blue Sky. I'm at Dave Ginsburg.
Thank you, David. Brian Flanagan Arthurs, thank you for being here. Sorry we had a little interruption there when you started, but we got you in. Where can folks find you?
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. I always appreciate you having me. Best place to catch up with what I'm doing is my website, brian8944.com. In addition, if you're listening live or this is out in time, I'll be a guest this week on the For Mac Guys Only podcast with Mike Potter.
Great. We'll have to check it out. Thank you. Last but not least, Marty Gensius. Marty, thank you so much. Which one of your many shows are you planning to promote tonight, or all of them?
And first of all, I need to tell people, particularly if you like my Nicolas Cage comments, you can find me on socials at Chuck Joyner. And you can send all your comments to me at that location. Actually, it's at Gensius, Jencius. Dave and Eric have kind of talked about the shows, Neo Notebook and Vision Profiles. Check out thepodtalk.net. That website has connections to all of the shows I'm on, including this one, which I'm grateful to be a part of, and also Dave's on Thursday, In Touch with iOS, the Tech Hangout. And I, too, have the special message, if it makes it out in time, at least for the live listeners. I'm going to be appearing on macOS Ken on Friday morning, talking about myths of Vision Pro. And so we had a nice conversation and just a fun time. So I'm looking forward to hearing that Friday morning. He said that's when it'll be released.
Great. Thank you, Marty. And yes, I will look forward to that too. Ken is a fun interviewer. It's always a good time. So that's cool. So the Mac Voice Live panel is branching out, doing guest appearances on all kind of other shows. I love it.
Yeah.
Folks, this is Mac Voices Live. We do this Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. Again, we appreciate you suffering through some of our experiments with us. But Barry was there tonight. Wayne was there tonight. I know I'm going to leave some people out. I always do, and I'm always afraid of that. But glad everybody made it. Quick scheduling note. Next week, things are... We're running at about 90% that we will be here. But the following week, there's pretty much 100% chance that we won't. So 2 things. Check here next Tuesday night, but we should be here. But the following Tuesday, not. So I will post notices up on the Mac Voices blog on the website for any nights we are confirmed to be dark, just so we don't leave you hanging. Otherwise, we will see you next time. As always, thanks for joining us. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
That was fun.
All right, so status check. I'm seeing Marty at 99%, Jim at 99%, David at 100, Eric at 27, which I would sort of expect, Webb at 100, Brian at 44.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at 68, which is really weird. So if you will, just please leave the window open after we end the show. And if not, I can send you instructions, or they're still there from last week, about how you go about uploading. But the one thing Mark Fuccio got caught last week with, I think, is that he quit his browser. And for whatever reason, that seemed to just wipe out everything. So, yeah, that was a little bit of an issue.
It seems like a good thing. You don't want to have it leave giant gigabyte files around forever.
Yeah, I guess so. But it makes me wonder exactly what happened, whether it did delete the file, whether it just said the upload would not restart even with the instructions. So I don't know, but hopefully yours, I guess, who did I say? Brian's and Eric's won't take too long, and mine, because I always leave this open anyway. So
Yeah,
Well, I
would
think
like
it helped
some
me being in the
more.
app too.
yeah, maybe so. Web?
I was just wondering, does this platform, is it helping you post-production wise?
Yes. The short version here is that I'm doing a mixed production. I'm trying to use their tools and learn them, but sometimes just for expediency, I've exported stuff and started using the ones I'm familiar with. So this is another one I'm going to really force myself to take a couple more steps down that road. But one thing that it does do, and I will post this to you guys, and I don't mind the chat room hearing it. If who's yeah, we still got people in there. The first pass, the first show that we did last week will get posted later this week, or parts of it will. And I just absolutely use the AI editor. So I'm not doing any of the cuts or anything. I did do the titling, but I just let it do the cuts. Now, what I'm told is that as it learns about us, that the cuts will get better. There are places that I would not have cut that it cut. There are other places I would not have cut that it did cut. But I think it's an experiment, and once I learn to use it better, then I can maybe tweak it in post production. But yeah, it will definitely speed things up, and the quality of the video is notably better because, of course, assuming you leave your web browsers open, I'm getting the video and audio that's recorded straight off of your cameras, not coming through to mine. So if I am indeed having bandwidth issues tonight, then I would have been having you guys fuzz out all over the place. But after last week, I'm absolutely convinced that I won't. That each one of you will be pristine, like you always are.
Were you recording it before on your computer, not on Zoom server?
Yes, Jim, I was recording it on Zoom server, and that's what I never quite figured out why that it wouldn't be. I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't great. Well, and I was doing some
Well,
post
no, Zoom
production.
server is not going to be as good as our local recordings, but
Right.
I'm just thinking you were saying if your connection was bad, that wouldn't affect the recording quality of everybody else.
It should not. No.
I mean, on
but,
Zoom, it wouldn't have either.
Right. But Zoom, and I was also doing, and I will continue to do some things in post to sweeten it up a little bit, and for those places there are rough spots, try to make it a little better. So, and Web, to answer your question, the other thing it will do is it will create shorts automatically. And when I say automatically, I mean like really automatically. Like it'll reach in and say, "Oh, this comment was interesting." I already pulled two out. One of a comment that some comments Jeff made last week, one that Eric made last week, that are I think are really really good little cuts. So we'll post those out and see what happens.
So, in other words, I better be even more careful about what I say.
That's one way to look at it, Jim.
Yeah, and it's hard to say because the uncareful stuff could be very popular in terms of driving people to the show.
Right.
So there's, I looked at Riverside and saw the clip pull out piece. I haven't had a chance to try anything with it, but I use Opus. Opus takes the whole program and then kind of evaluates clips on levels of interest or such. And, it's an expensive addition to the production part of it. So I'm curious to see how this works. But then I still have to kind of make a judgment as to whether what I think is good will pull listeners in or bring listeners to the full show. Opus kind of helps me with that.
Yeah. And that's what Riverside is doing too, is it's trying to help you pull out interesting clips. And of course you can go in if you have something in particular you want to make a clip of, it'll let you do it. So the difference seems to be that Riverside was built to be a podcast production platform, and the streaming part is somewhat secondary. And so it's a bit more geared toward live production now. And these are my opinions, but it's definitely geared toward recording, editing, taking those assets, using them after the fact, as opposed to just, doing a live stream and saying, "Hey, here I am, and here's what we're talking about today," and then just that's the content, and it gets posted warts and all. So it's kind of two different approaches, both valid approaches. Just depends on what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I've got to look at it and see whether it has things like framing and can I have two people, and what does it look like? Does it wind up looking like a Zoom meeting, or is it something that I can set up and arrange design with, which is what, Ecamm does well once you know the design piece.
Right. Well, I can tell you this. Tomorrow's show will be a TV Plus talk with Charlotte Henry.
Okay.
And we did the same thing. I turned it on, set it up, we recorded, I let it do the editing, and all I did was put in the titling and published. And so see what you think about that. I can tell you one thing, and of course Charlotte's in London, so the way we were recording, I was getting really good images, but man, her image right now is so much better with this because I'm getting the feed right off of her camera.
So are you guys going to talk about Nicolas Cage?
No, actually, I don't think Nicholas was doing anything with Apple TV. So no, we did not get into him. I do want to have a talk with Charlotte about. Oh shoot, who is? Oh man, I can't. Never mind, it's gone. I'll get it. It'll come back. But there's one movie that we were kind of looking forward to because of the star power, and it turned into one of those movies that's like, what did I just watch? What did I just kill an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I don't know what the point was. So, oh man, that's ridiculous. Keanu Reeves, there it is.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I don't know why. Yeah, and I like Keanu Reeves, but it was weird.
I can see his career going in the direction of Nicolas Cage.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah. No, there's some movies of his I've really enjoyed.
Oh yeah, I mean, some of his, like I enjoyed Nicolas Cage in Valley Girl. That should take you back a few years. You see, you don't even know that was his first film debut. He played kind of Deborah Foreman was the Valley Girl. 80s film. Nothing. Nobody.
Nothing.
I probably watched it, but it doesn't ring a bell. So.
Yeah. Moonstruck. Barry says Moonstruck.
Oh yeah, that was with Cher. Cher won the
Cher.
award for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who won the award for it? Cher won the award for it. Wasn't quite Nicolas Cage.
But you know what, Marty? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
Well, just real quick. Last week, of course, in the after show, we talked about the series Action.
Yeah.
And darn, I found it for you, and then I ended up staying up late watching the first
Yeah,
episode
I did
again.
too.
I watched the
I
first
did too.
episode.
Okay, and I completely forgot that Keanu Reeves was in that.
Yeah.
Completely. So, did you enjoy it, or did it live up to its
Yeah,
billing?
it's for its time is hilarious.
I wouldn't call it hilarious. I thought it was funny. I thought it was interesting. I liked what they did with cutaways and how they kind of shook the standard kind of let's do a a comedy show. They kind of shook that up a little bit, and so I thought it was interesting. I will go back and watch some more of it. I'm sure I will, because I need to get in, give a second and third. Again, I didn't. I'm not nixing it. It was good.
Yeah,
But some of it was really locked into a time, and I don't know if the humor translated well in current time. It probably was even funnier when the series first came out.
But again, what I said last time. It was 1999, and
Right.
you think about the boundaries at that it didn't push them. It broke right through them. Of what you could get away with. I don't think they could put that on TV now.
I'm watching Dream On. I'm working my way through Dream On, and some of the stuff they talked about in Dream On, it was like, it's one of the first shows on HBO. They pushed all the boundaries. They talked about, a lot about sex, a lot about coming of age. A lot of they had a gay. His father came out as gay. I mean, it was just. Some of the stuff they did in that show was interesting, but
that was a great show. I haven't thought of that for so long. I assume that's on HBO.
One of my very favorite scenes from that show has to do with the Three Stooges. That's all I'm going to say. But if you want to watch out for something, the Three Stooges.
I think I've already seen it. I can't remember what it is, but it's yeah.
I don't even know what this series is. Dream On?
Yep.
It was an HBO series like 25 years ago, something like that.
And it's basically a guy who was put in front of a television set growing up. So all of his storyline, when people say things to him, you get cutbacks to
TV
clips, like 5-second clips out of a movie, and there's one that the Three Stooges shows up in. I know, but from what
it was just so brilliant.
So yeah, it was, and so you have this kind of parallel internal dialogue going on that's pretty funny and pretty wild. I got it off of a server that Dave told me about.
Okay.
I have the DVDs, so if you missed an episode, so
yeah, cool. There's like six seasons.
I want to make sure we get back to Brian's comment, but Brittany's in the chat room. So Brittany, great to see you. She said though there's 0 times I find Nicolas Cage acceptable, and I'm conflating Keanu Reeves with Nicolas Cage, because I said not the John Wick movies, but that was Keanu. That was not Nicolas. So, Brian, what were you going to bring up?
Oh, I was in the whole Nicolas Cage talk, and I don't know if Brittany would find him acceptable in this or not, but I don't know how many of you knew that he was going to play Superman at one point. And when the Tim Burton Batman movies came out, after those had come out, they filmed part of, at least, a Superman movie starring Nicolas Cage. And I learned about this at they had a screening of this documentary. I just put the Wikipedia link in the chat, and I recall it's been a few years since I saw this documentary, but I recall it's a lot of the behind the scenes type issues with regards to writers not getting along and producers and that type of thing. But they had some still shots and some short little vignettes of Nicolas Cage walking around in a Superman costume with long hair, and it just looks so different than anything else. And
I've seen
it's
that,
Cage
Brian,
being
and
Superman. Yeah,
it just looks so wrong. It really did.
yeah. But it captures the Tim Burton spirit. Different than in how he did his Batmans, of course.
Yeah, yeah, good point.
And I'm watching the Cookie Monster singing the 7th inning stretch in Chicago
Nice.
right now.
Take me out to the ball.
Okay,
I
do
need
have to mute the
cookies.
mic, Dave.
Yeah.
Where's the mute button? Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah, I still hear that noise from you, Brian.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I'll mute.
No, don't, Brian. Don't worry
Let's
about
figure it
muting.
out.
And it's for dark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
I'd
after
love to
plus,
know
but-
what.
Wow, what's doing it?
Yeah. Good night, Barry. Thanks for coming. I see you in the chat room saying good night.
Hi, Barry.
Night, Barry.
Let me pull up the people link here. Yeah, so try talking, Brian. Unmute yourself and talk.
He's still on mute.
Hello.
It's like I hear your keyboard going, and you're going like this, like this.
Yeah, but I'm a little bit away from the mic. Weird. What if it was back farther like this?
Can
you hear me
what kind
okay
of? You have an arm, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the arm.
It's the arm.
But he hasn't. I mean, when it's been happening, he hasn't touched it. I don't think.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe it's just under tension. It kind of sounds like a spring.
I mean, if you're typing on your keyboard, maybe.
I'm not typing now. Do you hear it?
Nope.
No.
What about now?
There it
Yes.
is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe turn down the sensitivity of the mic.
Is the mic? This is an arm, so it's like mine. It's an arm like this.
You're right.
I think maybe what's happening is when you're typing, the arm
The
is just
vibration.
moving a little bit and making a noise.
It could be going like this.
Yeah,
I don't notice it.
yeah, but
But
it's
maybe very
enough
subtle.
that because the mic's hooked into it, it's
Yeah, which,
like bone
which kind of
conduction.
arm is it?
I don't know, some no name.
Well, there you go.
I've got, I've got a no name right here, and it's just. In fact, I've got two no name. Well, no, one is.
Yeah. Now, when you hear my typing, it's because I'm typing loud. But before that, I used to have a swing out arm that was closer to my pad. And so it would pick up the vibration across the table because it's a Formica table or whatever you want to call it. And it would apparently move the microphone just a little. So the vibration would come up. I fixed some of that, except for my loud typing, by putting it farther away from me on the table so it's not right next to my pad and having it swing down.
how is the microphone hooked to the arm?
On
Well,
mine.
the other thing I did was I added a shock mount too. So
Well, that's what I'm wondering if Brian has a shock mount.
I don't believe it.
That's what this has.
It looks like you don't.
Does it raise up at all? Like mine?
Not much. Let me see if I can.
Yeah. See, then now you're not your mic. You're like this, and you barely can hear you.
Okay, so I do have to stay like in this mode,
Right.
but I got to figure.
But
out
it's
a way
clipped
to not be
directly to the
annoying.
desk. The same part of the desk is where your keyboard is.
Probably a good 3 feet away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
but
still
it's
clipped because it's
connected.
going to pick up the vibrations.
What I did, Brian, was get some foam, and this was supposed to be a gamer's pad.
Yeah, I have
to
that too.
Cut down the vibration, and That helped a little
Mine
bit.
isn't orange though. Mine's black on the
Huh.
bottom.
Well, mine's orange on one
Because
side and black on the other.
I'm typing, like I'm tapping my desk and I was pushing my keyboard, making noise. You don't hear that because my mic is clipped onto a stand that's like a riser stand. It's part of my desk, so it's not attached directly to the base of the desk.
I may try something. I might be able to rig something where it's not attached to the desk, but maybe
You might
something
hear that.
adjacent. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're really like pushing
I
it to
might.
make that happen. Right.
No, I mean, but I'm tapping right. I'm not even going that loud. You can hear it because that's the base that this is attached to. That, and then you hear that, even though I'm not going very loud here now. Whereas I'm
Have
down
your
here, I got the
spouse
pad.
come in and hold the microphone like in the
Yeah.
air.
Yeah.
Get a shotgun for you.
What's
Well,
strange is that
you can
though,
also get mounts for the microphone so that there's sort of like elastic that holds the microphone, so that like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
that
you got
clip-
the spring ones. I heard your springs going bling, Chuck, when that pulled up. This one's nice and quiet.
Yeah,
you're-
sometimes with the spring ones, you get like someone pulled the spring. You get a
And
dingy
you can
sound.
play it. Bling, bling. I had one of those. Probably still have it.
yeah.
All right.
Well,
Marty, I got to tell you, the scene that I was talking about was not on Dream On. It was on another HBO show called Mind of the Married Man.
Oh, yeah. Okay. The Stooges are in Dream On, though. They show up in Dream
I
On.
remember that.
and I just read that the reason why Dream On is not on HBO Max is because of problems rights clearing all those clips that are in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That makes sense. Makes lots of sense.
Although apparently it's on the Roku channel now. Whatever that is.
Yep. We were watching action last week on Roku channel.
It's
All
really
right,
interesting.
I'm gonna head out. We've got something going on in
Yep.
our neighborhood.
Me too.
So
Okay.
I will see you guys later.
Okay,
I guess
well, please.
See you,
I'll just
everybody.
turn off my
Yeah.
I'll just turn
Take
off my video and audio and leave the browser window open.
Yeah, I mean, you should be-
99%. It should
Yeah, I
be
was gonna say,
done
you
in
should
a
be-
minute.
Done almost instantly. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
All right.
Take
Bye.
care.
Okay.
So I've been stuck at 99%. Is that because we are still streaming to YouTube? Because I think
Yeah.
last week when you shut off YouTube, that's when it just finished to 100 and I was done.
Was it that, or was it when we turned off the?
The recording,
I don't know.
maybe.
I don't know. All right. Well, in that case, I will turn off the stream and say goodnight to YouTube. Thank you for being here if you're still with us, and we will see you next week. And now I've got to remember how to turn off the stream without turning off. If I stop this.